Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I'm going to the store today because we're going to be in the kitchen a lot today. I'm focusing on 2 freezer meals and 1 new bread I'm going to try to make, which is dinner rolls. I've tried making them one time and they were horrible. So I'm going to try a different recipe today and see how that goes. Wish me luck. Let's go to the store. Okay, I'm ready to start my day in the kitchen. I have all of my ingredients, most of them that aren't refrigerated, over here. I've got some soft butter, chopped pecans. I've got some sugar, some bread flour, and regular all-purpose flour. I've got my tools. I've got my vanilla, cinnamon, cream of chicken soup, some Crisco or lard. I've got salt, pepper, salt substitute. I've got brown sugar. I've got some butter crackers. I've got some more tools here, some yeast, some more brown sugar because I might need it, some eggs. I've got some brioche bread. That's going to be for one of our casseroles, a breakfast casserole. Some apples, which I'm going to put into that breakfast casserole, sour cream, and of course my spray. And then I also have several of these little pans that I'm going to use for freezing everything in. And I have a rotisserie chicken that I have chopped up. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with 3/4 of a cup of sour cream. 1 can of cream of chicken soup. 1 tablespoon of poppy seeds. Now I'm going to add in my chicken. Now the recipe did not call for these next 2 ingredients, but I decided to put them in. I'm going to add like 1/4 cup of finely chopped onion. And some frozen peas. Gonna mix all that really good. Now I'm starting out using 3 of those little casserole pans that I showed earlier. I'm going to spray each one of these with nonstick spray. And I'm gonna fill each one with some of our casserole mixture. As I started filling these, they just looked a little skimpy to me. Nothing skimpy is coming out of this kitchen. So I decided to make it 2 casseroles instead of 3. Now for some reason, I noticed at this point that the recipe never called for salt and pepper or any other seasoning. So I'm going to add that just to the top of each one. Now I'm going to make the topping for each casserole. It's nothing more than a sleeve of butter crackers and 1/4 cup of melted butter. Mix that all together really well and sprinkle it on top of each casserole. Okay, these are ready for the oven. They're going to bake at 350 for about 25 minutes. These are beautiful. They smell so good. These are ready for the freezer. I'm going to wrap them in tin foil and in plastic, and I'll also put the reheating instructions on each one. Okay, now we're on to the French toast bake. I'm going to start by cutting into chunks this brioche bread. I'm going to try to do 2 at a time. Okay, now that I've got all the bread cut into chunks, I'm gonna cook some apples to go on top of at least 2 of those casseroles. I've thinly sliced 2 Honeycrisp apples. I'm gonna add butter and brown sugar and cinnamon, and I don't measure, I just kind of eyeball it. And I don't want to cook these all the way through, just until they're just soft enough, because they're gonna cook a little bit more while they're in the oven. Okay, I've got 4 of these casserole pans, and I've sprayed each one with nonstick spray. So I'm gonna line each one with the bread chunks, and I'm gonna use up all of my bread. I didn't think I would, but I did. Okay, I'm gonna put these to the side, and now I'm gonna work on mixing up the liquid that goes into each one. In my bowl, I'm gonna break up 8 large eggs, 2 cups of milk, 1/2 cup heavy cream, 1 tablespoon vanilla extract, and 3/4 cup sugar. I'm going to whisk this really good. Now I'm going to pour this liquid mixture over the bread in each pan, hoping that I get it even. I'm going to use my 1 cup measuring cup to do this, otherwise I'm going to have a huge mess to clean up. And I'm just going to press the bread down with my hands just to make sure that it all soaks up all that liquid. Now I'm going to add the apples to 2 of these casseroles. I ended up using my hands to do this because my hands could do a better job than that spoon or whatever it was I was using. Now I'm going to add the pecans to each one of them. The next thing I'm going to do is make the topping. That's 1/2 cup all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup packed light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon salt, and 1/2 cup cold unsalted butter cut into pieces. This is one thing about baking that I really don't like, is having to cut butter into something. It's just so hard to do. This is going to take me a minute, so I'll come back when this is done. Okay, I have the topping ready. All the butter's been cut in to all the ingredients. So this is going to go into the fridge along with the casseroles. They have to sit in the refrigerator overnight. Then when I take them out in the morning, I'll just bake them at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes. Once they're done, I'll let them cool completely before I cover them with tin foil and plastic and place them in the freezer. Okay, y'all, let's start on those dinner rolls. So in a big bowl, I'm going to start with 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry yeast. It's not instant yeast, it's just regular yeast. And to the yeast, I'm going to add just 1/4 cup regular sugar. And to the sugar and the yeast, I'm going to add 1 cup lukewarm water. It really needs to be around 105 to 110 degrees. I'm going to swish this around really good, and then I'm going to let it sit for about 5 to 7 minutes just to make sure that my yeast is alive and that it blooms. And this is an example of what it looks like when it blooms. Now that I know my yeast is alive, I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients, which is 1 egg. Actually, it's not quite a whole egg, so I'm just going to pour in what I think might be like half an egg, but a beaten egg. 3 tablespoons of lard melted, and I used Crisco and just melted that in the microwave. And 2 3/4 cups all-purpose flour, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I need to get this mixed together really well, incorporate everything, make sure all the flour and everything has been mixed really well. Now I need to knead the dough in the bowl for about 5 minutes. I'm going to do this the best I can with my hands. You can do this in a mixer with a dough hook, but I don't have that, so I'm just using my hands. This was some really sticky dough. I'm having a hard time with it, so I decided to use my bowl scraper to help me out a little bit. This is why you need a mixer with a dough hook. I'm just saying. Now I'm going to get a clean bowl, and I'm going to put some olive oil in it, making sure that I get the olive oil around the sides and in the bottom of the bowl. Once the bowl is well coated with the olive oil, I'm going to put the dough in the bowl, making sure that I flip it around a few times just to make sure that the oil is coating the whole dough ball. Now I'm going to let the dough sit for about 1 to 2 hours. I think it ended up being about 1 hour and 45 minutes. You need to cover the bowl with plastic, and then you need to put your bowl in a warm spot. The warmest spot in my house is in the oven with the oven light on. Not the oven on, just the oven light. So I let it sit in there for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Now comes the part that makes me nervous. This is where I need to flatten out the dough a little bit. I think it's to a 1/2 inch thickness, and cut it into equal sections and then make the roll. This dough is still really sticky, so I'm gonna spread some flour out on my dough mat here so that it's not sticking to me so bad. This dough is just so pretty and it's so supple. It is just, oh my, I love working with dough. And this is, even though it's a sticky dough, this is a wonderful dough. Now I'm gonna flatten it out to about 1/2 inch thickness. I am dusting it with flour as I go, just to keep it from sticking to my fingers. Now I'm gonna cut the dough into equal sections. Now I'm going to roll each section into a dough ball. I'm doing my best to use the roll and tuck method that I've seen other people use on YouTube when they make rolls. Now I have placed the rolls in a greased pan. Actually, it's a baking stone that I'm using. And I'm going to cover this with plastic and let that sit for about another 30 minutes or so. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. These rolls have risen. They are much bigger than I thought they were going to be, so it'll be interesting to see how these turn out. I'm going to put them in a preheated 375-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Oh my glory be! Look at these babies, they're beautiful! Of course, the real test is the taste and the consistency on the inside. And these are so fluffy. They taste absolutely delicious. I can't believe that I made these. I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. I did it. Oh my gosh. I freaking did it. Look. Oh my goodness. Okay. I got to get in here. Oh, look how fluffy they are. Y'all, look at this. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy. Freaking look at this. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. It's going to be hot, but I don't care. Oh. Oh my gosh. Gosh, they're so good. They're so fluffy. Thank you, Lord. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. I'm going to finish this one. Please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing.